Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CNT podcast. My name is Tommy Terrio. I am here with.
Not Justin Yormark, aka
Nope.
Eli Burns.
There we go. I mean, I think that's your name now. It's just not Justin. We'll go with that. But Eli, as always, thank you for coming on. Really great seeing you.
I've seen you too, buddy.
All right. So today, Eli, you and I are talking about the Mount Rushmore for every team. So this was your idea. This was your topic. I want you. You're gonna steer our ship here. What team are we going to first?
Let's start in reverse order with the Washington Nationals. And yes, Montreal Expos players can count.
Okay, I was about to, I wanted to ask. I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to get in trouble, but all right.
Did you have any Mount Rushmore players?
My one thought is, what if let's combine. We have our. I mean, we both have our lists, right? And then let's combine them and we agree on the top four, as a team, okay, or as a duo. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. So I think the top three are quite easy. You have
Pretty
Gary Carter, Tim Raines, and Andre Dawson.
100% agree. I'd agree. Though I'd also
Um,
like to throw in Vladimir Guerrero, Ryan Zimmerman, and even though he's still active, Bryce Harper.
yeah. How about this one? How about Max Scherzer?
Hmm.
I mean, the guy. I mean, the guy was one of the greatest pitchers in baseball for pretty much his entire tenure in Washington.
Yeah.
So okay, so we have the three. So who's our fourth one then?
I
I'm I'm gonna keep advocating for Scherzer because I mean the guy won two Cy Youngs and came top three in three other votings in Washington. And he was also I mean, the only problem is he was only there for 6 years. That's the only concern, is he was only there for 6 years.
Well, since our first three are Expos, we might as well go with a national.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'd have to
Really
agree with you on that.
recognize the full history. So,
I'd have
uh,
to agree with you on that one.
do we go Scherzer or Zimmerman then? That's the
I
question.
I mean, Scherzer I think had better stats, but Zimmerman was Mr. National.
Zimmerman is a career national. He was national for what, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah,
So I would say, I mean, he won the title with he was a national for 16 seasons.
yeah.
So I would say, I think Scherzer is definitely the better player all time, but Ryan Zimmerman was just he was,
Gonna have to agree with you on that.
yeah. Okay. Where to next? Keep going, keep just going up the
The
list.
other team that's played in Canada, the Blue Jays.
Oh, we're just completely bouncing around. Okay.
I'd say Joe Carter, Carlos Delgado, Roy Halladay, and Jose Bautista.
So yeah, so
Those let
Roy
me just
Halladay for
say
sure.
Let me just say how underrated those Blue Jays championship teams in the early 90s are.
That's a very good point. Like you go back and look at it, like I mean these guys had 95 and 96 wins in those two seasons. Yeah, I mean John Olerud, Roberto Alomar. They did everything right on those teams.
Also had the highest payroll at the time.
Shout out Cito Gaston, by the way, for having a bunch of good years with them.
Yes.
Um, so I will say, Roy Halladay and Jose Bautista are definitely right. I think those are two, the two easiest ones. Um, and then another guy that I think needs to be brought up into this equation as well. Um, I honestly don't know how to pronounce his name. Dave
Yeah,
Stieb.
Dave Steve.
The guy was a Cy Young candidate a bunch of different times. Multiple All-Star teams, led the American League in ERA in 1985. He also pitched almost more than anybody else. He had 288 and a third innings in 1982. So I think he needs to be up there for sure. Um, but then Carlos Delgado is certainly up there. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good set we got there.
Yeah,
All right. Should we go back to the NL East so I can at least maintain some sort of order here?
sure. What team?
Let's go with the Mets.
Hmm, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely have to say David Wright.
Yeah, David Wright, I mean, he is the modern Mr. Met. I mean, he is the real Mr. Met, ignoring, anything else.
Yeah, and Tom Seaver.
Tom
That's
Seaver, obviously.
yeah. Daryl
Um, I
Strawberry.
think Daryl Strawberry. And then, okay, so I have a question for you then. Is it Dwight Gooden or is it Jacob DeGrom?
I will go with a third option, Mike Piazza.
Ooh, yeah. Piazza's a really good one. The only problem with Piazza
Yeah,
is the fact that he spent less he spent no exactly only half of his career, 8 years in um with the Mets, and most of them were not his best seasons. It was the tail end of his career, and most of them were not his best seasons.
yeah,
So that's my only concern with that is how much value can we put on a guy who, did not have, I mean, he still was great with them, but it just, there's just tears to it. And then I think we more fondly remember his
home run after 9/11.
his home run after 9/11, but more importantly, well, not more importantly, but more notably his Mets or his LA stats with his Mets tenure, which is a
Yeah,
problem I think we keep running into. And with when you got a guy like Doc Gooden, I think you got to
good.
go with him.
Yeah,
For as good as Jacob DeGrom was, I think his entire legacy is tarnished by the injuries.
yeah,
I mean, the guy won back-to-back Cy Youngs, and I mean, he has the greatest strikeout to walk ratio in a career all time. But I mean, he led the league in Cy Young. He completely destroyed the Cy Young narrative, and he was on pace for the lowest ERA in history if he hadn't gotten hurt. So he played. Let's see, he started 15 games in 2021 and 11 games in 2022,
yeah.
and has only played 6 games. And I mean, that's in Texas, but I only played. It's just something I wanted to add. 6 games in 2023. Like,
Yeah.
he has not been able to just keep his career on track. So I don't know. I think it has to be Doc Gooden.
I'll say Gooden as well.
All
That
right.
dude could have been. Let's stay in New York for a bit
Okay,
with
works for
the
me.
Yankees. This one's actually kind of easy for the Yankees. Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Derek Jeter.
Nope. Wrong. Ooh, you missed one. You missed one. You went 3 for 4. So 75%. It's a C. It's not bad, but it's also not good. You were off by one. Which,
Lou Gehrig.
it happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. You missed Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig's the greatest first baseman to ever play.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you got so close. So
But
close.
I was going by one player from their most dominant eras.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going under that, then I think that works. I think Berra and Jeter are, I think tied for fifth though. Agreed.
Yeah.
But you gotta go
You
Lou
could
Gehrig.
also throw Mariano Rivera in there. Maybe.
Yeah, Mariano Rivera certainly has to be up there. Just with all that he, just how good he was and how dominant he was, and the fact that he was robbed of a
So
of a Cy Young
yeah,
about 4 different times. I'm just gonna keep slowly steering us back to the NL East. You can keep bouncing around all you want, but I'm gonna keep steering us back. Let's go with the one of the newer franchises, the Miami Marlins.
hmm, I'd have to say for that, well, Gary Sheffield for representative of the '97 team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going representative, yes, but I just think he didn't. How long was he there though?
I don't know.
Let's see, Gary Sheffield played 6 years, so he's right on the border of where you would probably consider him.
Another guy who didn't last long but was iconic, Josh Beckett.
Yeah, shout out Josh Beckett's like 3 good seasons.
Yeah, that
But I think
dominant
Giancarlo
two.
Stanton has to be up there, right?
Yeah, and Jose Fernandez.
Yeah, I think that one's an honorary. He has to be up there simply because rest in peace. I think
Yeah,
let's put it this way: he would have been up there had extraneous circumstances not been provided.
yeah.
I mean, the guy was so good. But Giancarlo Stanton, you gotta have Hanley Ramirez, right?
Hanley Ramirez. Yeah,
And Sandy Alcantara is
yeah,
slowly building himself a legacy in there.
yeah. I mean, most of the players from '97 and '03 didn't stick around too long.
What about Miggy?
Miguel Cabrera, that's an interesting one.
In terms of legacy, I think he is, but in terms of actual credentials, I don't think so. I mean, the guy was such a dynamic piece of that '03 team. I just don't think he qualifies, unfortunately. He just doesn't have the stats for it.
He'll definitely be on another team's Mount Rushmore,
Yeah,
though. I'd say.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. But we agree we have Stanton, Hanley Ramirez, and then a
So
hodgepodge of Jose Fernandez, Miguel Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara, and like,
Josh Beckett, Gary Sheffield.
yeah, just a hodgepodge of whoever you want to throw in there. Dontrell Willis, maybe.
Maybe.
Where do you want to go now? Where do you want to go next?
Let's see. Let's go with another rather new franchise, the Milwaukee Brewers.
The Milwaukee Brewers.
This team has not produced a bunch of talent, but we got what we got.
Yeah, we can work with what we have. There's enough talent here that we can. Honestly, it makes it kind of easy.
Robin Yount,
Yep.
Paul Molitor,
Yep.
Cecil Cooper,
Yep.
and controversial one, Ryan Braun.
What do we do? I mean, that's the question, right? Is where do we go? Like, how do we quantify Ryan Braun? And we're gonna run into this with the Giants, and we're gonna run into this actually with probably the Cardinals and probably the Athletics.
Yeah.
All right, so we need okay. So you and I, we're not here. Quick sidebar. What are our parameters? Do we still put the steroid users in?
I mean, if we can't think of a better one, we should.
Okay, so I think we at least mentioned them. We put them off to the side, and then let's see if we can, talk. I mean, with the Brewers, we can't. There isn't
Maybe
anybody else.
maybe Christian Yelich.
I think Christian Yelich is a ways off from that, but I like where you're going with that. Um, yeah, the problem is there's just no they're like Ryan Braun is just in a different tier. So I think we put him in there, and then we can revisit it like team by team. Sound good?
Yeah. Where
All
do we
right.
go next?
Well, because I'm going to keep steering us slowly back to the National League East, we're going to go to the Philadelphia Phillies.
This is another team that hasn't exactly produced a whole bunch of talent.
There's a lot of top end, but there's not a lot of depth.
Yeah. Well, obviously Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt, Mike Schmidt and Steve Carlton, I think, are the two easiest, right?
Yeah. The late 70s, early 80s Phillies are another underrated team in history.
Mm-hmm.
Shame they only won the one.
Yeah. And then you got to have what? So you have
Chase
those two.
Utley,
Chase Utley, Grover Alexander needs to be up there.
yeah.
I mean,
Richie
that guy was
Ashburn.
it. For those of you curious, I mean, I'm not going to put him up. He had 8 years in Philly. I'll put him there. Go check out Grover Alexander's numbers. I mean, there's some. The guy had a one in 1915. I'll just read this off. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
31-10 record, a 1.22 ERA, and 376 and a third innings pitched with 241 strikeouts, 1,400 batters faced, a 2.25 ERA plus, a 182 FIP, a 0.0842 WHIP, and only a 6.1 hits per nine and a 5.8 strikeout per nine.
That is wow.
Yeah. Question for you.
Yes.
When did the Cy Young Award come into place? When was the first Cy Young Award?
1946 is my guess.
Okay, we'll go. Well, I'll trust you. I don't know. We can,
Let me look it up.
all right.
When
I don't know, but the point being is, if there was an award for it back then, I think he wins that just about the easiest you could.
it was first awarded in 1956.
First awarded in 1956 to who? Who's the first one?
Let's see. It was Don Newcomb of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. It was both AL and NL prior to 1967.
Really? Because all the other ones are leagued, are like league separated, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
People were weird back then, I guess.
Who knows? All right. So is that our four then? Alexander, Utley, Carlton, and Schmidt.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Robin Roberts is another guy.
And
Um,
Richie Ashburn as well. I'll throw his name out
yeah,
there.
there's a lot of talent actually. You actually go down and look at it. There's actually a lot of good stuff going there.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going next?
Let's round out the NL East. The
Thank
Atlanta
goodness.
Braves.
Thank good. Oh, but this is going to be tough.
First of all, Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron done. We could put his face up there and don't care about anybody else's and call it a day.
Another Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones Chipper Jones. I mean, it's just like this top in this the top 10 is so good. Let me just read you off the top 10. Hank Aaron, Kid Nichols, Kid Nichols, shout out, the early 1900s. Guy was born in 1869. Played from 1890. He played with the Boston Braves back when they were in Boston. And the
Yeah,
guy pitched 400 plus innings in 4 straight years.
that is
Guy faced almost 2,000 batters in one season
wow.
while throwing a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah. Though I'd have to say, two great Braves pitchers, Greg Maddux. Got to go with him.
It's Maddox and Smoltz. Yeah, they're right. I mean, they're right.
Maddux and Warren. I'd say Warren Spahn from
And
the.
then, yeah. I mean, yeah. So, okay, so we have Aaron, Spawn, and we can't forget Eddie Matthews or Phil Necro.
Yeah, this team is just so many.
Okay, so let's do this. We have Hank Aaron and we have Warren Spawn for sure. Those are the two top two,
Yeah,
nothing. I'm not gonna count that. What was his name? Kid
Nick,
Mocked or whatever his name was. Kid
Kid Nick.
Nichols.
Yes.
I'm not gonna put him in there. Guy pitched in the 1800s when they were throwing 400 innings a season. Don't care.
Nope.
Shout out Kid Nichols, but I don't care.
Sorry to any of Kid Nichols' relatives listening to this.
I think you gotta go Chipper Jones. He was a lifetime Brave.
Yeah,
So you gotta go him, and then
Maddox.
it's pick your poison between Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz, who all had superb careers.
Yeah,
And I don't think there's a wrong answer.
yeah,
So that's up to you guys. You guys can make that pick, but I think we have those are our three that that need to be mentioned there. All
yeah.
right. NL Central.
Sure. Where should we
Um,
start?
well, we already got the Brewers. Let's go with the Chicago Cubs.
Justin, if you're listening to this, feel free to criticize us.
Yeah, we are not as familiar with this team as you are, so do what you need to do. Okay, we're gonna
I
get
have
this out of the way first. Cap Anson does not count. He did not play past the year 1900. If you do not play before, if you did not play, or if you did not play after the invention of the airplane, your stats are invalid. Agreed?
yes,
Thank
but
you.
when you have someone who is Mr. Cub, yeah, has to be on. Ernie Banks has to be on there.
Ernie Banks is on there. That's easy. Ryan Sandberg, Ron Santo. That's easy.
Another one. Well, if I Chris Bryant, if I had to put someone from the 2016
If you had to
team.
put somebody on from the 2016 team, yes, but we're not because he's nowhere near any of the rest of these guys.
Yeah,
And then I guess is it Sammy Sosa?
maybe, but we all know his. We know his.
Again, it's the same shtick, so I think you got to go with Billy Williams.
Yeah.
So, all right, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about about those four though. I feel pretty good about that.
Once again, feel free to criticize us, Justin.
Yeah, if we miss something crazy, let us know. All
Well,
right, where am I going now?
let's head to. How about Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh. All right.
This, uh, I got to go with. Even though his first couple years were before the invention of the airplane, Honus
He had
Wagner.
enough after it to that like I said, if you play at least one season after it, you're good.
Yeah,
And besides, most of his tenure in Pittsburgh was after it anyway. So,
yeah,
I mean, the guy's pretty much Mr. Pittsburgh, right? He has 18 seasons with the Pirates.
yeah.
All right. But after that, it's
Roberto,
Clemente,
yeah,
Willie Stargell,
Willie Stargell, and Bill Mazeroski. I'd say
just simply off of the one contribution.
no.
Was he actually good? I'll be
He had
completely
eight
honest.
Gold Gloves in 17 years.
Yeah. And if you're gonna put one other guy in there that needs to be mentioned, if you want to, I mean, if you want to talk about like a mod, if you wanted a modern inclusion, like you feel like you wanted to get like representation from each era, you
Andrew
got
McCutcheon.
Andrew McCutcheon of any of the modern guys, you got to go Andrew McCutcheon, but he's not on there. And honestly, I don't know that Mazeroski is either. It's tough.
Always remembered is for that one home run.
Yeah. Which I suppose you win. I mean, you single handedly win your team a World Series. I suppose that kind of gets you.
Guess that's the same deal with Joe Carter as well.
Does that kind of get you some good, street cred, you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say.
I'll give it to
Especially
Mazeroski. He's not the best, but with how much he did for that team.
considering the Yankees outscored the Pirates 55-27 in that series and still lost.
Yeah. Um, let's go with one that I think is pretty darn easy. Let's go with the St. Louis Cardinals.
This Rogers Hornsby.
It's Stan Musial, Rogers Hornsby, Bob Gibson, and Albert Pujols.
Bang, 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 bang.
Um,
No debate.
honorable mention, fifth place to Ozzie Smith.
Yeah.
And if you really want to get down to it, you got a guy like Adam Wainwright. If he played even just a couple more, I mean, obviously Knox's body just hasn't held up, but
Shout out Yadier Molina as well.
yeah. Let's finish off the division with the Reds.
Yeah, Cincy.
Okay.
Gotta go with Pete Rose, despite the ban.
Pete Rose, because his wasn't steroids. Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench, Barry Larkin.
And then Frank Robinson.
I'd say Joey Votto.
I love Joey Votto more than the next guy, but are we really? Oh, it's tough, dude.
The only person I know who doesn't like Joey Votto is Justin.
I guess the other thing I'll say, for Joey Votto's case too, is that Joey Votto has played what? How many years has he played in?
It's
He
all
played
I
17 years for Cincinnati. Frank Robinson played 10. I think that's the determining factor because I think their stats, if you really like niche dig into it, they're neck and neck, which no one wants to talk about how good Joey Votto's been in his career.
yeah,
I saw a post today that you can tell how big of a baseball fan somebody is by what whether they think Joey Votto belongs in the Hall of Fame or not.
yeah,
Because I mean he 100% does if you really dig down to it. And I think Joey Votto, just in terms of Reds tenure, I think barely edges him out.
yeah.
All right, NL West. Can we save my guys for last?
Sure. Let's hit up the first. Let's start. Let's hit alphabetical with Arizona.
Okay, well, I'm cool with alphabetical. I can do that.
The D-backs. I'd definitely say Randy Johnson.
It's such a young team. That's the problem.
Yeah, but Johnson, Kurt Schilling.
Luis Gonzalez,
Oh yeah,
and
and
then
Paul Goldschmidt.
Paul Goldschmidt, because that gets you your modern pick. Yeah, like your more modern pick too.
Yeah. Though Corbin Carroll will definitely be on there after his career is said and done.
Yes, and
Probably.
it is not going to take him long to get up there. Honorable mentions also go to Zach Greinke and interestingly, Ketel Marte, who
Hmm.
is sixth all time in team WAR.
Yeah.
All right, sticking with our alphabetical, except the one we have the LA Dodgers.
Well, we got to look at Brooklyn as well.
Yep,
It could be
LA.
argued. It could be argued the Brooklyn Dodgers have had more iconic players than the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think it's tied, honestly.
But you got to start with the man who changed baseball and Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson has to be on there. What no matter what stats or anything else you want to point to, he has to be up there.
And
Clayton Kershaw has to
oh
be up.
yeah, Sandy Koufax has to be up there, despite
I mean, it's
his.
one of the easiest. I mean, Clayton Kershaw is one of the easiest picks ever. The guy won. I mean, guy's one of the few players to ever win a Cy Young and an MVP in the same year.
Got to go with another pitcher in Sandy Koufax. I'll
Sandy
say that.
Koufax certainly. Sandy Koufax didn't have the tenure though.
But when he was on, he was the most dominant pitcher in baseball.
That's true.
The last one,
It just
number
pro.
four.
It's hard because his first one, two, three, sorry, four, five, six, his first 7 seasons, he didn't have a sub 3.5 ERA. Or he didn't have a sub 3 ERA.
Yeah,
Like he had 5 great years, but his first 7 were, pretty good.
but
So it's
no,
it's it's tough.
I'd also say another Brooklyn era player in Duke Snyder.
Duke Snyder for sure. Don Drysdale.
Right? Yeah, I'd say him. They've had a lot of good players
Yeah.
also.
All right. Padres.
Same, same can't be said of the Padres, though. But the one guy that obviously comes to mind is Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn is easy, as is
Trevor Hoffman.
oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that one. I was gonna say Dave Winfield.
Oh, yeah. The fourth guy, though,
Um,
oh,
if you were to quantify it by WAR, it's Jake Peavy. But in all honesty, I think it might be Adrian Gonzalez.
hmm,
In terms of total impact for, very bad. I mean, those Padres teams were terrible when Gonzalez was playing.
I mean, they did have 3 good years in '05 to '07, but other than that, nothing.
Exactly. Like
They
for
in
the
they
cumulative course of his tenure.
yeah, the Padres finished 82 and 80 in 2005, yet won the division and made the playoffs.
Yeah, the Rockies were terrible at that point.
We all know what happened when the Rockies Padres 2 years later, though.
He makes me happy. Yeah, I'm gonna take Adrian Gonzalez out of the running though. I've looked, looking down deeper at the stats and everything. He only played in San Diego for 5 years.
So another guy, according Randy Jones, he only lasted 2 years of peak stardom, but he was an NL Cy Young runner-up in 1975 and a winner in '76.
Yeah. Um this one's a really weird one, but Manny Machado? I mean, I get that he's only played like Adrian Gonzalez 5 years, but I mean, it's hard to find too many guys who've had better Padres tenures. I mean, like, if you were to average out his, tenure against anybody else's,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, there's not much better than what he has going.
yeah. Sorry, San Diego, your cupboard's pretty bare.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the next one here.
Giants. This
The
one,
Giants.
you got to go Willie Mays,
Willie Mays, um,
Willie
Willie
McCovey,
McCovey has to be on there. Mel Ott,
Christy Mathewson,
yeah.
but Ott I could see definitely.
And then we have to address the elephant in the room.
Bonds.
Barry Bonds, the most notorious user of PEDs. What do we do?
I don't know.
I think there's enough talent outside of Barry Bonds to exclude him from the list.
Some, yeah, some other guys from the. I will throw in a couple guys from the early 2010s championship teams. Madison Bumgarner and
Best
Buster
postseason
Posey.
pitcher of all time.
Yeah, and Buster Posey, throw him
Mhm.
in too.
Um, Shout out to Will Clark as well.
Yeah,
Um, but I think we can go Mays, Ott, Mathewson,
because
um, and McCovey, and I think we have a pretty solid set list.
yeah,
Honorary mentions go to Carl Hubble and Amos Ruzi,
yeah.
as well as Juan Marichal as well.
I was just about to say him.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
And now the team that has had perhaps the most miserable
Honestly,
existence
this
in
one's easy.
baseball.
That's the nice thing. This one's easy.
Larry Walker, Todd
Yep.
Helton,
Yep.
Troy Tulowitzki,
Yep.
Nolan Arenado.
Yeah. I mean, you really go down to it. Like Charlie Blackmon, it's interesting. Charlie Blackmon is the second longest tenured athlete in Colorado. Like in the state of Colorado, he's the second longest tenured professional athlete.
Hmm.
So he certainly has the longevity, but when you put it up against the productivity that those four guys had, Troy Tulowitzki's prime, Nolan Arenado, Nolan being Nolan, Larry Walker, and then honestly the best of them all being Todd Helton.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy was playing. I mean, putting up video game numbers at times. Guy had 372 in 2000.
dude belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Obviously, you have the Coors effect and all that brings, but he played 17 years in Colorado, did all the right things. So I mean, guy needs to get into the Hall of Fame. It's gonna be a travesty if he doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, AL East.
Yes. We'll start. We'll do it. We didn't save my guys for last.
All right, and we already got the Jays and the Yankees. So let's
We
go to
will start.
Baltimore.
We will start with Frank Robinson, who we
Frank
mentioned.
Frank and Brooks Robinson have to be up there.
Rest in peace to both.
Yep.
They're not related, in case anyone listening is
No, they
wondering.
are not. They are not. You can look it up. We promise you. But then, I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's Frank Robinson. I think Brooks Robinson for sure. But Frank Robinson's only problem is he was an Oriole for 6 years.
But
So his stats kind of pale in comparison to the rest of these guys.
yeah, gotta throw Cal Ripken Jr. in.
Cal Ripken Jr. is the easiest one. I mean, he's the record for the most consecutive games played. The best ability, availability. All right.
Gotta Jim Palmer.
Yep. And then it's yeah, it's got to be Eddie Murray. I want it to be Frank Robinson really bad, but I just can't justify it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Murray had some good years.
All right.
Although Adley Rutschman will probably be up there.
That's tough for me. Adley is going to be special, but I don't know. But that's bold.
Yeah. Next up would be Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Another
So another really dry crop to choose from. So I think we can kind of speed through this one.
Evan Longoria.
Yep.
He'll probably never have to pay for anything down there again for what he did in
For
2011.
all that he's done for that team, yeah.
Carl Crawford.
Do you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
In 20 years, the Rays have only had three managers.
Joe Madden, Kevin Cash, and
Lou Piniella.
hmm,
And you could extend that out. In their entire history, they've had one, two, five, they've had five managers in 25 years.
says something about the franchise.
They trust their guys. But yeah, so it's Evan Longoria, Carl Crawford, and then
Dave,
Ben
David,
Zobrist and David Price.
yeah, I agree.
Honorable mention to Kevin Kiermaier, but I think I think Price's prime, I think, wins it for him.
Yeah. I'm sure one of the guys on this team will be on there.
If anybody, it's gonna be Randy Rosarena. I guess. I just don't feel that great. I mean, it would take Randy being superhuman for another like 6, 7 seasons in Tampa. Which do they even have him on contract for that long?
No. But you know who the Rays drafted with their pick before Carl Crawford?
Who?
Josh Hamilton.
That really weird. Okay.
Maybe more on him later. And
Maybe.
now,
But yeah, they have him under contract for another couple of years. I think they're fine.
and
A
now,
Rosarena, that is.
and now for my Boston Red Sox, you got to start with Ted Williams.
Yeah, you can't have a list without that.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Carl Yastrzemski.
And then Roger Clemens.
I'd say Pedro Martinez would get that spot.
You think Pedro Martinez over Roger Clemens? That's
Yeah.
ooh. All right. And
I
then
mean,
I think,
the Red Sox would have retired Martinez's number and not Clemens.
yeah. And then,
David Ortiz.
oh, I love Big Papi as much as the next guy, but I mean, it's got to be either it's got to be Cy Young, right?
Yes, even though he spent some years pre-airplane.
Yeah, even though, pre-airplane years are a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Cy Young. The guy pitched in almost 900 baseball games.
yeah. Honorable
It's the
mention to
record for both
Manny.
the most wins and losses.
Yeah, honorable mention Manny Ramirez as well. You, yeah, but I got to go with Cy Young. You make a good point.
It's crazy that we're leaving Wade Boggs and Roger Clemens off the list.
Yeah,
I guess my only question with Pedro Martinez is how long, like,
Pedro
I,
was in Pedro was in Boston between 1998 and 2004.
so he had 7 years there.
Yeah,
But some of his best years, like he had great years outside of it. That's the problem. It's tough. It really is. I mean, me personally, I think I'm putting Boggs ahead of him, but I think he is a very valid one to use.
fun fact: Wade Boggs was at the Red Sox Tigers game I went to in August.
Nice. That's fun.
He was also at a game my dad went to last in 2022, coincidentally.
Well, maybe if you go next year again, you'll get to see him again, right?
Yeah, I did not meet him. They just showed him on the Jumbotron.
All right. The Kansas City Royals.
Shift into the Central. We got to start with the Bretts. George Brett and Brett Saberhagen.
Yep, that one's easy.
And
But then
then,
after that, there's no really notable names.
gotta say, for what he did, Alex Gordon.
Yeah, I mean the guy was what, a Royal for he was a Royal for 14 years. Only problem is he was just, I mean, the guy eclipsed 300 once. I mean, he had an OPS plus above 100 about half the time. I mean, you look at his last 5 years in the majors were not good.
Yeah. But those two playoff runs in 14 and 15.
Yeah. Um,
Another one, Kevin Apier. I don't know how you pronounce
yeah,
it.
Apier, I don't know.
Yeah.
Another guy actually, um, Willie Wilson.
Yeah.
He had some really good seasons um in the let's see, late 80s, and I mean the guy played in Kansas City from 1976 to 1990. So 15 years of service to the city of Kansas City. I think that gets you on the list.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
the Royals haven't had too much to pick from.
No, just because they haven't had a lot of success.
Yeah.
I mean, on the whole, what have they really done?
Other than two titles.
They had the two titles and then a couple of good runs, but a lot of things in between.
Carlos Beltran was on the team at one point, but I don't think he counts.
I don't think he was there long enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Next stop would be let's let's hit up Cleveland. Another team that hasn't had too much quality players.
Yeah, there's some good high end talent though.
Yeah, there's some good talent, but it's not very depth. There isn't too
Um,
much.
uh, yeah. So, Nat LaHoya,
Oh yeah. If you have your team named after you at one point.
yeah.
Yes.
Um, Tris Speaker,
Hmm.
Bob
Bob,
Feller.
yes. Larry Doby.
Yeah, I think Larry Doby has to be up there simply because of his contributions to all that.
Yeah. And more recent, if we had to choose a more recent, Jim Tomey.
Yeah. See, Larry Doby played 10 years in Cleveland, so yeah, that works. Yeah, I feel like Tome needs to be up there as well. Only problem is let's see, he spent 13 years. Sorry, I didn't think he spent as much time as he did. He bounced around a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, 13 years in Cleveland, Jim Thome certainly has to be in that discussion. But I think it is Larry Doby because of his impact. He broke the national or the American League color barrier.
Yeah.
But then La Jolla Speaker and Bob Feller.
Yeah. Should we go to Detroit, Chicago, or Minnesota next?
Let's go. Let's go Detroit.
All right. But you got to start with Ty Cobb.
Yeah, 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 dude.
Regardless of what your opinions are on the guy, you know tonight he was a
Yeah,
great player.
he was not a nice guy, but he was good. Al Kaline,
Yes.
Alan
Hank,
Trammell.
I'd say Hank Greenberg.
Yeah, I think Hank Greenberg is certainly in that discussion. And then I
Miguel
don't know.
Cabrera.
It's crazy. I want to put Miguel Cabrera there, but I don't know if he deserves to be there.
Hmm. I saw him at the Red Sox Tigers. I
Yeah.
went. They gave him a replica Green Monster scoreboard.
That's cool. I love all the stuff that they've done for him. I mean, the guy's been in Detroit for 16 years, so I mean, he at least deserves consideration, but there's just so much talent, especially from the old teams, that I can't justify putting him up there, which is crazy.
The biggest one of all, Mark Fidrich. That's a big what if.
That guy could have done so much.
Yeah,
He just couldn't figure it out for whatever reason.
yeah,
I don't even know why. That's the crazy part.
yeah.
All right. White Sox.
White Sox. But the one guy I want to put for the White Sox is Shoeless Joe Jackson, but let's not dive too deep into that.
Yeah. Shoeless Joe Jackson just didn't. He was. He's another what if, right?
Yeah,
What if he actually did his job?
yeah,
Well, not even what if he did his job, but what if other people let him do his job?
yeah. That's a big one. Let's Luke Appling.
Yeah. But Frank Thomas has to be there, right?
Yeah, even though he's apparently in steroids as well.
Is that confirmed? That are we sure about that one?
He's been linked, but I think. Has he?
I'm not sure.
But yeah. Another guy, Minnie Minoso. He was kind of the Latin Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
And another
Yeah.
a more
Frank Thomas did not use steroids.
oh, yeah. I thought he did for some reason.
No, he's actually a really big advocate against it.
Hmm. So he'd definitely be on there. Another one, Mark Burley would be another.
Yeah. Just crazy. Like pretty much all of their top guys are from from a different era. From the early 1900s.
Yeah, which I guess makes 2005 a little more special.
Yep, and makes it really hard to quantify.
Yeah.
You want to do a nice easy team to round out this division?
Twins.
Yeah.
Well, we got to start with the Washington Senators era and Walter Johnson.
Walter Johnson, that one's easy. Played, all but one season after the invention of the airplane, so he falls under that criteria.
Harmon Killebrew.
One of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Harmon Killebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Carew.
Crazy thing is the guy had 110 career shutouts.
Johnson. Yeah. He may be the greatest pitcher of all time other than Nolan
Right
Ryan.
up there. But it's Killebrew. So it's Johnson, Carew, Killebrew, and then either Mauer or Kirby Puckett.
You not bad with either.
I think I gotta go Kirby Puckett.
Yeah. That 91
Also just comes down to legacy, and I just don't think Joe Mauer's legacy is as big as
Puckett's 91 will always be remembered in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean the thing is Joe Mauer is just like the model of consistency, just year in and year out.
Yeah.
All right. Last division we got here. We're gonna start with the Oakland Athletics here in the AL West.
I will start with Jimmy Fox.
Yeah.
He was with the Philadelphia A's.
Works for me. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm not stressed about the difference there.
Another one would be Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
If we had to pick a team from those 70s teams.
But then you got to throw Ricky. I mean, Ricky Henderson's up there, right?
Oh yeah.
And then either Eddie Plank or Lefty Grove.
I'll go with a third option, Dennis Eckersley.
Ooh, yeah. Eckersley was really good.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just so many. I mean, this is actually a really good, really deep legacy team.
I can't believe John Fisher has ruined this franchise.
And you have such a great history and everything else going. Yeah. All right. Angels.
Well, this we got to start with one player, Mike Trout.
Yeah. One of the greatest of all time. One of the greatest to ever do it.
And
Keep it
then after,
simple. No need to mess around and try to, be cute and fancy with it. That one's easy. And I think um, Chuck Finley is easy. And then I think you got to honestly throw Nolan Ryan in there, right?
I was thinking that too. Number
And
one, Jim Fregosi. He
yeah,
accumulated more WAR between 1963 and 1970 than every other AL player save for Carl Yastrzemski. Waiter managed the Angels as well.
really. Hmm. I mean, obviously they didn't win much with him, but shout out their one world title.
If I a player from that team, I'd say from the '02 team, Tim Salmon. Never was an All-Star, but hit 299 homers in 14 years between '92 and '06.
Which is still crazy that he never made an all-star team.
Yeah,
By the way, if he stays, Shohei Ohtani is an easy pick in like 3 years.
yeah,
I just don't think he stays, nor has he been there long enough.
yeah.
All right, Houston Astros.
This one, another semi-controversial.
Otherwise
Well,
known
we
as the
got to
Houston
start with
Colt 41.
Biggio and Bagwell.
Diggio and Bagwell done. Easy.
Number one, hot opinion, Roy Oswald.
No, I could see it. And then I think it has to be Jose Altuve.
Yeah,
One
despite
of
the
three
whole,
guys, one of three guys who did not participate in the cheating scandal.
yeah,
It was him, Tony Kemp, and Josh Reddick.
yeah, and yeah, got to
So
go with Altuve, and maybe we can throw Jordan Alvarez on there later on. Later,
yeah. Honorable mention to Lance Berkman.
yeah. Again, Trevor, if you're listening to this, feel free to criticize us.
Anything else? I mean, it's funny not having Nolan Ryan on there feels kind of funny, but it kind of makes sense though.
Yeah,
Like when you look at, like how I mean, the problem with Nolan Ryan and putting him on any, top list is he was split so evenly with so many different teams that it makes it hard to prioritize any one team.
all right. Yeah, but yeah, no, Ryan's a tough one, and I don't think he makes it on my next one, which would be the Rangers.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Um, so Pudge Rodriguez is one.
Pudge Rodriguez, Juan Gonzalez,
Adrian Beltre.
Adrian Beltre, and Michael Young, I'd say.
What about Ian Kinsler?
Oh, Kinsler. He'd definitely be up there, I'd say.
Yeah. And
Maybe Nelson.
if he had not completely screwed his career up, Josh Hamilton.
Yeah, maybe Nelson Cruz as well.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz. If he hadn't, screwed up in the 11 World Series, might be a different story. But I don't think he's up there yet.
Yeah,
All right, Seattle Mariners. I think is easy. I think.
this one's pretty easy. Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Ichiro, Felix Hernandez.
Yeah. Like we can talk about Randy Johnson and A Rod, but Felix Hernandez signed with both the Braves and with the Orioles, but never appeared for them. And the guy was won a Cy Young and was second in Cy Young voting two other times.
And another guy I'd throw in, shout out to my history teacher, Alvin Davis. He was with the team in the early years.
Yeah, Alvin Davis is like you said, another great name. But when you have those four that just make it just so easy.
Yeah,
How about this? How long is it going to take Julio Rodriguez to get there?
I'd say about 5 years minimum.
Yeah, I think 5 to 7. I think right. I think that's about a fair number.
Yeah, since he signed for like 17 years.
If he stays on this pace, let's clarify.
Yeah,
All right. Is there anything else you want to add about any team, anybody you think that we forgot in here?
I don't think so.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That is me and Eli's comprehensive list of the Mount Rushmore for every single team with some, other names thrown in. It's really hard to get down to four with some of these guys.
Oh
So
yeah.
as always, thank you so much for watching. If there's anything that you feel like that we missed that that you wanted to congratulate us on, not expecting that, but anything you feel like we missed, anything that you need to add, if you wanted us to see maybe a national versus expos or something like that, let us know, reach out. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.